This is this is a Saturday service. I'm Rabbi Brian. It's supposed to say that somewhere on the screen. There it is, right down there. And I am joined by a bunch of friends. Today I am in a different location than usual. I thought it'd be easier to show you a picture. I'm in a hotel room. That's from their promotion. And I'll give you a second to figure out what that thing over the bed is. It is a hammock. There's a hammock. Has anyone ever been in a hotel that provided a hammock indoors? Pretty fun. So you'll see that there's a hammock lying right behind me, and when we are done with this, I'm going to grab a book and I'm going to be snuggled up in there. I am currently, according to nativesland.ca, which is the link right down there, I am on what is the traditional territory of the Confederated Tribes of Warm Springs, and that is what we currently call Bend, Oregon. And here's a whole map of Oregon. And you can see Bend if you look smack, here we go. If you take a look at my face and then you look smack at where my nose is, there's Bend right in the middle, right above the word Oregon. And you can see Portland on the top left corner. So I'm doing a wedding later today, a New Year's Eve wedding, which is kind of a cool thing. Like you're never going to forget their anniversary date. So we're here in Warm, uh, the land of the Confederated Tribe of Warm Springs. And I highly recommend, if it's not something that you do already, that you take a look when you're traveling or when you're talking to someone in a different place and take a look and see who were the people who lived there, who are the people who still consider that home, and to up our consciousness that uh, things happened to make it so that we are where we are. I'm going to show all my friends who are on screen. Not, oh, wait a second. Let me get to this one. No. No. Please hold a second. Stay patient. There we go. Mm, there we go. There's a bunch of my friends who I can fit on the screen at once today. Good morning, friends. I'm glad that you guys are all here. And I'm not going to be doing this view very much because it's kind of hard. Hold on. Oh, shit. There we go. Okay. Um, right. You know, it's really a good thing that I've gotten calmer over the years. Um, we had, well, it's what you practice, what you want to get good at, and getting upset that the technology is not working is not helping anyone. Um, I have a note here that I wanted to say something. Oh, here's a thing to consider. How does one? I heard in our pre-service, the show up early club, there was a little chat of, oh great, there are 14 people here and we haven't even begun. And it's an interesting thing, and I'm going to leave it for you to think about, which is how does one define the success of a religious service? How do you define the success of a religious service? Is it based, and the easiest thing to do is to count heads. Is to count, no, it is the easiest thing to do. I see people shaking their heads like, no, 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 no. But it is the easiest thing to do is to count heads. Um, count smiles. Oh, that would be good. That would be good. Um, but it is an odd thing in this religion game of how do we judge the success? And that most of the success is not something that you can measure. It's not something that you can easily measure. So glad I got to that note. Last week, say it again, Jack. Oh, is that me? Well, I'm running the service, but I'm not quite sure that I can define the success of the service. Um, I do have one metric that I use, which is how much did I enjoy the hour, and that is a metric. But if I enjoy it, the problem with that is if I enjoy it and a few people found what I did to be offensive and wrong, is that still a good service? Uh, you should see my inbox. Yes, yes, yes. It it is. It is indeed. I remember when I was teaching high school and I had a 14, 15-year old has, Latino Hispanic guy, Jose, and his pop his grandfather died, who raised him, was the most important man in his life, and he was in my math class and he's looking sullen, and I said, "What's going on?" And he broke down and started to cry, and I thought, "Golly gee, I am a good teacher. I'm doing my job well. If a 14-year-old Hispanic male in my classroom feels comfortable enough to cry." And I thought, well, maybe I'll make that into a metric. But fortunately, I was wise enough to know that if I made in my mind, if I had considered if children cry in my class as a measure of my success, I would be seeing more kids crying, but that wouldn't necessarily mean that they were doing it for the right reasons. It's a little weird to let me circle back. Thank you, Hugh. And Last week I mentioned something, and it was eye opening to people, and it was just touched lightly, which was I asked you if you consider the things you don't know to be things that you should know. I asked you last week, do you hold yourself responsible to know the things that you don't know? And let's start that one again. Um, Everyone here knows there are things that they don't know. That's reasonable. Wait a second. Hold on one second. I apologize. That there are things that we know that we don't know, and all those things that we don't know, somehow I think we hold ourselves responsible for knowing them. Oh, I should have known better than to park the car where I did. Oh, I should have known better than to trust that person. But at the time we made that decision, at the time we made that Alex, I'm getting a little extra on the audio. Thank you. Janet, I see you have your hand up. So, birthday girl, you go right ahead. Right, right, right. So you understand the moral of this story, is that we're all doing, and this is a huge idea. We're all doing the best we can at the moment we do it, and the decisions that we make when we make those decisions, we think are the best decisions we could make because there are all these things that we don't know that we can't know because they're the things we don't know. And then can we forgive ourselves? And that's where the meat of this is, can we forgive ourselves for not knowing we made the wrong decision, but that was because we didn't know any better at the time? And, oh, here it gets worse. You guys ready for it to get a little bit worse? Okay, just turn off the volume if you don't want to hear this part. Those other people, they're making the best decisions they can at the time that they're making them too. Which means, you want me to say it or you want to say it? You want me to say it? I Yeah, I'm afraid that's the thing. We should forgive them too. It's that we and last week we had a lovely discussion, and that will tie us into where we're going next. We had a lovely discussion last week, talking about things that Jesus taught, and one of them is reported in the that Jesus's final words were, "Forgive them, for they know not what they do." Ugh. Okay, let me move to the next piece, and then this goes to Kip last week took me on because I quoted something about Jesus, and I made, from the way that I put the story about Jesus, I made it that Jesus was a little bit snarky in Turn the Other Cheek in saying, walk the second mile, that Jesus was a little bit snarky. And Kip very rightly said, uh, it's not how I feel about Jesus. I interpret them differently, and I didn't slow down and take this moment that I want to take now. So it's a good thing that we have this every week. We can go back. Was that, and I did say it, but I don't think I underlined it and put it in bold enough. It's perfectly fine that we have different understandings and different views about a subject. And from and this is where we're going to get us to is a lot of thoughts about religion is that we all have to have, within a group, we have to have the same creed. We have to believe the same things. And that's simply not true. We can have varying opinions, varying beliefs. We can have, I fully believe in fate and God, and that the devil is going to tempt, and that, or I cannot believe. I have the opposite views of that, and that we can coexist, we can live the same. And I'll tell you something, my friend Bill. Bill was my next door neighbor when we first moved to Portland, and Bill said, he was a Jesuit priest, and I have a special extra love for Jesuits. And Bill said, when we're talking about theological differences, my house was, there's Bill's house, and then right next door was my house. And my house was on the south of Bill's house. And Bill said, in the matter of theological debates, saying that one person has a better grasp on God is like saying, this is Bill speaking, is like saying, I live closer to the North Pole than you do. I mean, he does, but who cares? And that's going to bring me to our topic for right now. But before I do our topic for right now, I just want to take a look at all your faces. Hi, faces. Hi, people. It's good to see you guys, and I hope you guys take moments to look at all the faces of people, because it does mean something good during the rest of the week to know there are these people in the world, and while we might not all agree all the time, that and I think you all know this, that I do love you all. I love each and every person, some to varying degrees. I like different people to different degrees, but I love everybody. And there's something really wonderful about knowing that there's this love in the world, and that there are these random people. You're not all coming to this congregation because you live nearby. That's the number one predictor of success of a brick and mortar congregation is if people are moving into that neighborhood. The number one thing that causes growth in attendance in a brick and mortar congregation is that people are moving into the neighborhood. A second thing, I don't know that it's number two, but a second thing that really helps brick and mortar congregations is tragedy. National tragedies and local tragedies tend to run people into congregations. Oh, also, I want to say one other thing. Um, Pope Benedict died this morning. I don't know that everyone knew that, but and I was conflicted of do I call that out because also our friend Michael Perlmutter, his mom died last week, and 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 if you have his contact information, would you send him a note, either the Pope's family or Michael's family, either family that you have that you could send a note to. And I thought, isn't that strange? I have a note here that I wanted to talk about Nancy, that was Michael's mom, and to bring that up. And then I was conflicted on whether or not I bring up that the Pope died. Any thoughts about, like, is that, of course, it seems reasonable and rational enough for me to bring that up as a world leader in religion, but is it not odd? Yeah, Jeff, help me out. Yeah, and Barbara Walters died. I didn't even think of mentioning her. Yeah. And then at what point is there? True enough. True enough. Is there anyone? Correct. Let me ask before we do it. Anyone else who's famous? Is there someone else who's in this community that we lost? Did you lose somebody recently that you want to mention? Is it in the last 30 days that anyone here lost somebody, or is it the yearly anniversary of the death of someone dear that you want to mention? Janet, go ahead. Mm. Oh, wow. Yeah. 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 Wow. 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 My beloved. Yeah. Well, we will hold you. Hey, Maria, do you have a list of people? I think we could jump right here into our thoughts and concerns time, and we add. And let's see, Anne, do you have something you want to add in before we do our minute of? Hmm. Mm, 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 mm. We will add Kathy to our thoughts. Yeah. Anyone else for whom there's a name of someone they want to add? Yeah, Ron, go ahead. Wow. Okay. Yeah, quite a thing. Maria, would you take us? Thank you, Maria. And let's take a minute of silence starting right here at 50 seconds. Okay. So I have a topic, and Alex, if you can prepare the feels like a Star Trek thing, like prepare the escape pods. But if you could prepare us to go into rooms, if you would prepare us to go into groups of rooms of 5 people, and we're going to go into rooms of 5 people for 6 minutes. Um, and the question I have, and I'd like you to discuss with the your small group, and then we're going to report back into the large group. The question is, who told you how religion had to be done? Like we all picked up and learned these are the rules, this is what you're supposed to do. And my question is, where did you learn those rules? Who taught them to you? How did they get inside your head? And then what process did it take for you to kind of squiggle and squirm your way out to realize, to a better or worse degree, that no, I get to choose that. So the question I want us to look at is, where did these messages that we all picked up of this is how religion should be? And there's some obvious answers, but to think subtly of where did you get the messaging from that you're supposed to follow this path? And the word religion itself comes from a word to bind, is to be bound to a path. And organized religion is often, here are all the paths you have to do. But who taught you those? And it might be helpful to remember that we a long while ago spoken about, oh, and that I have so many things to talk about at once. This is just great. We talked about this concept of that there are two different ways that we learn things. There are things that are taught, and there are things that are caught. Things that are taught are the Pythagorean theorem, right? You had to be taught that. Somebody told it to you. It was didactic. Here it is. Repeat it back until you learned it, and now you know it. That's the things that are taught. Then there are the things that are caught, which is, I don't remember any of us going to any seminar about Zoom that said where you're supposed to hold your camera with regard to your face. Right? Nobody ever taught us that. But somehow we all caught that idea. We all weren't taught that, but we caught that. And the things that are caught are sociologically harder to undo. And if you want a challenge of that, try eating food off of somebody else's plate at the airport. Try taking right. You're not allowed to reach onto someone else's plate that you don't know. That nobody taught us that. You just know that. Or to sit really close to someone, or to do with your Zoom the wrong thing. So to consider taught and caught in this discussion of where did our religious rules come from? Where did we get our religious education? Where did we? Who told you? Here's how I wrote it down: was who told you how you had to do religion? Where did those messaging come from? Okay, everybody ready to go into breakout rooms? All right, questions? We're all right. All right, Alex, prepare the launch vehicles. If you are on audio only, you will have been transferred into a room. You do not need to participate in a room. If you do not join a room, you're going to be here with me for a moment. Hey, Alex, I'm on my laptop. How do you know how I see a list of the rooms? Oh, I found them. I found them. Yeah, my screen was not big enough. So we have 6 people there, 6 people there, 5 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 people there. So we have people in each of the rooms. Nobody looks too small of a group. And you have a timer going because I forgot to start mine. Grand. Okay. And David and Alexia, you guys are still you. Hi. So I figured if you totally didn't want to be seen, you would have turned your video off, and then I wouldn't say boo to you. So you could turn your videos down. You don't have to participate. But David, I see you're still here. Um, Anything you want to say about this topic, or from where did you learn how you're supposed to do religion? You can pass, and that's totally acceptable. That's fine. That's totally cool. And then ironically you wind up in a really small group with me. Is that better or worse? Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah, you found out, and you can totally pass. I'm a real live born extrovert, and I have come to understand that not everyone is. Okay. Well, you do not need to. We'll leave you be unless there's something you want to add in. And Alexia, I see you faded out onto video. How are you feeling? Yeah, you haven't been feeling well for a little bit. Vibing. I don't know what that word means, but I think I know how to use it. What does vibing mean? Just taking it in? Okay, fantastic. And okay, we'll do it on slow. And there's my friend Rose. Hi, Rose. You don't have to say anything. I'll just say hi. Because Rose, I know on moral grounds, you are one who never joins in the small groups, which is totally fine. Well, glad to see you here, my friend. The topic that we were discussing is, and everyone is in small groups. Alex, how much more time do they have in those? All right, so we have about 2 minutes. Um, the question that we were talking about is, from where did people learn this is the right way to do religion? From where did people get these messages, and how 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 come they were able to unlearn that idea and say, well, that might not exactly be true, and I want to empower myself to do religion my own way. And I know I'm talking to a skewed demographic, because if you're going to show up to a service by religion outside the box, you're going to be outside the box a little bit. So glad you're here. We'll wait another minute, unless any of you want to have anything you want to add. Alex, you want to say anything? Oh, that's wonderful. Right. Right. Kids. It is really strange that kids know. Oh, I'm Lutheran, but like we know what the label is, and then but we don't know what the heck that even means. I always find that so bizarre that in medical school, like once you decide you want to become a doctor, then they have you do rotations where you go through and you try all the different types of being a doctor, and you go, oh, I like this one. And we don't do that with religion. We say, oh, I'm a this. Tell me what are the rules and regulations that I have to follow now that I've declared. Seems like a strange order to do it in. And our it looks like we're coming back. Hi, Peter. No worries. Good. And Peter. Well, here they come, and I think I found out that if I am talking and kind of monologuing as people come back, then they don't just start talking, and we can then move us into a larger group discussion. So, Alex, tell me when all the rooms are closed up upon, and I will stop. The rooms are closed. Well, thank you guys for all sharing. I will tell you the one thing that was in our group was this idea that if you go to medical school, you get to go on rotations and find out what kind of doctor you want to be. Once you've decided you want to be a doctor, you do a surgery round, you do a pediatrics round, you do all the different rounds. But with religion, we tend to do it a little bit differently, which is you choose before you know what it is you say, oh, I'll go that way, and then you're told, well, here's your briefing on life after death. Here's what you believe because you declared this group, and that seems like a very uh, different model than the medical model. So tell me something interesting that came out. Would you raise a digital hand if there's so I'm excited. I want to hear something that came out of your group. And if it's your own share, to share that, but if it's someone else's, to please give them the anonymity that a member shared. And Janet has got her hand up. She's just so you all know, Janet is winning today. I don't know if anyone else is seeing. Yeah, it's usually not a competition, but I just want to let people know. Uh, oh, and then Janet put her hand down. Okay, Janet, you won. That. Oh, I see. So let's start with Janet, and then we'll go to Michael, and we'll see what else we have. Janet, what did you find out about who told you how you had to do religion? What happened in your group? Yeah. Yeah. Oh, wonderful, wonderful. So there was something off-putting about being told what you had to do, and I do realize this is a very yeah. Yeah. That it was uncomfortable. And I do realize this is quite a skewed demographic because if you're showing up to a group called Religion Outside the Box, you're but that's who we got. So let's talk about it. Michael, what wisdom learning? What do you got? Oh, and let me apologize. Let me apologize again. Oh no, not apologize for the rooms not having enough time. I'm gonna just blame Alex for that. Not your fault, Alex, but thank you, Alex. Go ahead, Michael. Tell us. Yeah, not a choice. Yeah. It's really difficult. It's really difficult to unlearn what you were taught, especially uh, in this topic of religion. It's really difficult. What else came out of one of your? Uh, yeah. What's why is it different? What's different about Group A and Group B? Absolutely, it is of great interest, and let's get some scientists on it. Anne, that's you. Let's find out. Ron, what do you have to say? Explain a little bit. Mm, mm, mm. Right. It takes a that's a leap of faith. I mean, ironically, it's a leap of faith to. And I saw we had a hand up from someone named Corbin, and then I lost Corbin. All right, keep going, Ron. Yeah. Go ahead. Hmm. And well, that's also who. If we asked those high school students who told them how to do religion, the answer would be in our Quaker meetings with Ron, who brought in people from different faiths. So wonderful that you're one of the influences. Yeah. I yeah, I'm a fan of older minds. The younger ones are easy picking. Corbin, go ahead, my friend. You have something to share. Mm. Yeah. Right. Right. We get very comfortable with what we're comfortable with, and it's really and Corbin, I'll give you extra points. And you're not used to sharing in this group, and it's not an easy thing. Once you've shared for the first time, it's easier to share a second time. But doing anything new, my my goodness, it's not comfortable. Uh, 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 yeah, it's safe and comfortable, and even if I have to. Do we have other thoughts on who told you how you had to do religion and how did you come about unlearning that? Al, go ahead. Mm, yeah, yeah, right. Well, I think a lot of us have been taught there is a way or there are many ways to do religion. Here's the catalog of 247 different possible religions you could do. Pick one. But and we're not given the authority. We're not inculcated with the idea. Um, take what you like, leave the rest. Make up your own. Dance your own dance. Hugh, and friend. It does look odd. Go ahead, Hugh and Maggie. Okay, hold on, Maggie. I'm gonna make it even better. I'm gonna make a. I don't have raffle tickets on me, but I do have an index card. There, I will send it, and I'll put a little star on it to make it official. So thank you for joining us, Maggie, and I apologize for my lack of raffle tickets at the moment. Hmm. I thank you, thank you, thank you. I had a friend who told me when I went to seminary. He said, if you become like one of those people, I will kick your ass. And and to be fair, it took me a while. I did drink. You know, you hang around and long enough, you get it. It took me 3 years after leaving congregational life to refine myself. It's not easy to do. Um, Bob, and then I want to move us along. Go ahead, Bob. Yeah. 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 Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, I want to thank you all for this discussion. To me, it's fascinating to think. My job, as I see it, is to help give give doesn't isn't the right verb. Um, to help rekindle in people their own spiritual religious authority and agency, that don't do what I tell you to do, but do what it is that you know is the right thing to do. That you have the authority, you have the agency, you have the authority, that you are the foremost um, being on what a quality spiritual religious life is for you. And you not only are you the authority on it, but you have the agency. You have the ability to to affect change, to make it as it is that you want to see it. And best I can see it, here's going to be me on my little soapbox. Let me get on my little soapbox. That, oh, I lost my train of thought when I made that little joke. Isn't that funny? Jane always says that when you get right up next to a truth, sometimes your brain goes fuzzy. And God, I hate how right she is sometimes. Let me see if I can. Um, that we need to find our authority, our agency in our religious lives. That, oh, I can't recall where I was going. Maybe it will come back. Maybe it won't. Um, do give me a moment. I'm gonna. No, it's not. So it is the last day of 2022, and tomorrow will be a new year. And I had made a comment to the earlier group that maybe beginning at 2023, we do a review of all the many different little tools we've talked about. And for example, today we talked about taught and caught as a concept. And I want to go back and do a tool review that's right on where we are today, which is, and I'm going to do it on this index card, and it's a basis of spiritual religious lives, and it's an idea from Eric Fromm about the 5 elements of a spiritual religious life. And the 5 elements of a spiritual religious life, um, I have a little infographic for each one, and I know them, but I would love to hear from people who are here to help with the learning and keeping it in your head. Can you remember? I mean, and if you don't remember them, that's fine too. I'm here to help review them. Is there? Can you remember 4 out of 5 of them? 2 of them? Can you remember 3 of them? Emily, what do you got? Yeah, so I'm going to start with that. One of the first quality of a spiritual life is that it changes you, that it's transformative, that delta is the Greek letter for change, that a spiritual religious life is a life in which you are not the same person as you were. And my favorite quote attributed to Thomas Merton is that if the you of 10 years ago doesn't think the you of today is a heretic, you've not been growing. A spiritual religious life is one that has change in it. Give me another one if somebody can remember another one of these five. Yeah, Maria. Yeah, thank you, Betsy, for that. A spiritual religious life is a life in which we know that this is a lower value than this. The spiritual life is not saying all things are good. They're not. That a spiritual religious life usually puts something like love at the top of the hierarchy of values, treating others as you want it to be treated. Um, that there's a hierarchy of values, and that's really an important part of a spiritual religious life is knowing that we have values and that we care that things should be in a hierarchical order. So that's two out of five, and in my class that's a pass. So we're passing already. Let's go for extra points. A third one. Someone remember a third one of these five? Yeah, I see people are doing it on the screen. Was this infinity sign? Is that there's something about a spiritual religious life that has to do with this infinite, that every the way that these two circles are touching each other, that there's a connection, there's a connectedness, that we don't just stop at the end of our dermis. Like there's that we continue and that we're all connected as part of a spiritual religious life is understanding that. I'm going to add in a small teaching on that, which I don't think I've taught before. It goes like this: there's art, there's science, and there's religion. There's art, there's science, and religion. And the purpose of art is to create beauty. The purpose of science is to define truth. Art tries to create beauty. Science tries to define what is true. And nobody ever gives a crap that artists cannot define what they mean by the word beauty. They know it's a goal. This is a goal that we try to get to, and we don't care that we can't define it. It's still fine. Science tries to get to truth. Can you define what truth, absolute truth is? Let's say we can't. The truth is, and that these three things are all infinite, and that religion tries to get us to the same place that science and art gets to, because the infinity equals infinity. It's all the same. So far we have three parts. We have transformation, a hierarchy of value, and a connection to the infinite, to something beyond. Okay, we got 3 out of 5. Go, Melissa, go. Ah, that's a number 4. That spiritual religious life is not about you. It has to be about a greater good. Of course it does. It wouldn't make any sense otherwise. And at the same time, we cannot be so selfless that we have no boundaries and that we let anyone do anything. No, of course not. A spiritual religious life is about us, not about us. And at the same time, this one's totally awesome because this includes within it. So maybe there are 6 ideas to a spiritual religious life, but these two share the same graphic. Is the paradoxicality, is the idea that it can be both about you and not about you at the same time, and that we can have both and thinking. Okay, we got 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. 5th one? Yeah. A spiritual religious life is not seeking answers. I mean, it is seeking answers, but it doesn't find them, does it? A spiritual religious life is marked by the idea that questions are more important than answers. There's a great phrase that in a rabbi in standard rabbi training that somebody once asked the rabbi a great question, and the rabbi didn't know the answer. So the rabbi asked the rabbi's teachers, and those teachers didn't know the answers, and those teachers went through all of the sources of Jewish law and couldn't find the answers. And finally, one of people got in touch with Elijah and asked Elijah the question, and Elijah couldn't answer the question. So Elijah went and talked to God, and okay, we got to suspension of disbelief, but this is how the story goes. And Elijah asks God the question, and then God response comes to Elijah, comes to the teachers, comes all the way back to the rabbi who answers the person, and God's response is, why would you want to trade such a beautiful question for an answer? Five qualities of a spiritual religious life. Here they are, 5 to 6 qualities of a spiritual religious life. And the wonderful thing is, you get to you get to define and choose how you do this. And what a beautiful way to, I think, end our New Year's Day, our New Year's Eve day service. Um, Thank you guys for joining, for being here, for being a part of this. I'm going to do that thing where I try to share the screen where everyone is so we can all wave and say goodbye. There's everyone. Can everyone wave, say goodbye, and we will hang up on the people. Hold on, we are not quite. There we go. Bye, everyone.